News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Alexis Christoforous. Here are the stories we're following today.
Alexis, we begin with a major speech from President Donald Trump as the U.S. war with Iran nears the end of its 5-week mark. In a primetime address heard live on Bloomberg Radio, the president defended his decision to go after Tehran's nuclear and missile programs more than a month ago.
For years, everyone has said that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, but in the end, those are just words if you're not willing to take action when the time comes.
And the president said the action he's taken is close to achieving that objective. But before that, he says there will need to be more action.
We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong.
At the same time, President Trump says discussions with Iran's regime are ongoing, but he did not lay out a plan to convince Tehran to allow passage through the Strait of Hormuz. The president had this to say to allies struggling to get fuel through the strait.
Number one, buy oil from the United States of America. We have plenty. We have so much. And number two, build up some delayed courage. Should have done it before. Should have done it with us, as we asked. Go to the strait and just take it.
President Trump also says the loss of 13 U.S. service members in the conflict has only stiffened his resolve to finish the job.
And Nathan, the speech is getting an anxious reaction in markets and in Washington, D.C. Bloomberg White House correspondent Jeff Mason says it's the kind of address presidents typically give at the start of a conflict.
He launched this war 4.5 weeks ago, essentially with a social media announcement. And yes, he has spoken to reporters and in that way addressed the American public over these weeks. But this was his first time coming out and laying out the logic for going into the war and laying out his next steps.
And Bloomberg This Weekend co-host Christina Ruffini says the president may have been sending a warning to allies as much as Iran.
All those GCC countries, all those Gulf allies, all the Asian countries that depend heavily on oil coming through that strait, some of them who thought they had very close ties to the United States are going to be in trouble if the U.S. is not there to finish the job. And that's going to fall to some sort of coalition of other nations.
And you can catch Bloomberg This Weekend every Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m. Eastern on Bloomberg Radio and Television and the Bloomberg Business app.
And as the war enters its second month, Alexis, reports from Iranian state media and residents indicate continuing attacks on civilian infrastructure, including homes, factories, and electric facilities. Iran's Red Crescent Society, which is part of the International Humanitarian Network, says U.S.-Israeli airstrikes have damaged or destroyed more than 90,000 homes, about half of them in Tehran.
U.S. allies are meeting to prepare a diplomatic outreach to Iran, which is starting to operate the Strait of Hormuz like a toll booth. A Bloomberg investigation reveals how Iran-friendly tankers are being given secret codes and charged around $1 a barrel of oil for safe passage. Reopening the strait has become a key priority for governments around the world, with UK Prime Minister Starmer pushing for talks.
We're exploring each and every diplomatic avenue that is available to us. And the UK has now brought together 35 nations around our statement of intent to push as one for maritime security across the Gulf.
The British leader has been a frequent target of the White House for refusing to join its war. Those talks Starmer references are happening later today in London, and the U.S. is not expected to attend.
And oil, Alexis, is surging following President Trump's speech. Checking prices right now, Brent, the international benchmark, is up more than 7.5%, trading just shy of $109 per barrel. West Texas Intermediate's not too far behind, above 107. We spoke with Willem Sells, Global Chief Investment Officer at HSBC Private Bank.
So everything remains about oil and energy prices and gas prices. So that has an impact on the producers versus the consumers. So a lot of Asian countries, being hurt by that. Europe underperforming versus the US. The US dollar strengthening on the back of that. And so therefore, sort of that diversification that we saw over the last, number of months away from the US dollar, that being stalled. That then has an impact on the Treasury market, and together with the US dollar being strong, obviously holds gold back. But I think the sell-off in gold is probably done.
It's HSBC's Willem Sells. Iran's state-run Press TV quoted Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi saying Iran and Oman will decide the future of the strait.
And gold declined after President Trump's speech offered little clarity on a resolution to the war. Silver also fell sharply. Spot gold tumbled as much as 4.3%, breaking a 4-day winning streak. And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Alexis Christoforous.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.